Good evening and welcome to the Redefining Beauty Wednesday Conversations. My name is Kamo, Magabane, and tonight I have a wonderful guest who I am so excited to be having this conversation with. It's going to be a fantastic one. I promise you that much. Good evening, and welcome to the Redefining Beauty Wednesday Conversations. We're here again. Tonight I'm talking to Lihle, Radebe, who is an amazing human being. She's a friend. She's an ambassador in the movement. She is an author. She's a writer. She's a blogger. She's very gifted with words. And I believe, as she refers to herself, she is a vessel of love and healing. I can't wait to have these conversations. I love having these conversations. I love hearing about how other people are impacting and changing the world. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us this evening. I'm just going to be waiting for my guest, and we will kick this conversation off. I'm just waiting for my guest to join us. I would be playing some music, but Instagram is having none of that. The minute you play music, there's copyright issues and the live gets cancelled. So yeah, please send through your questions, send through your suggestions. And if you're a regular and there's a special somebody or guest that you would like to see, please send me a message and I can reach out to them and invite them over. Yay, my guest is here. Going to do this. Good evening, everyone. Hello, there she is. Hey, gorgeous.
Hi, everyone.
How are you doing, honey?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm excited. It's Wednesday. Wednesday excites me. I love talking to beautiful people. You are one of my favorite people. So
Thank you.
is your sound fine?
Yes.
I hope you won't have issues because some people require earphones, but I can hear you perfectly.
Let me just switch to earphones just in case.
But your sound is perfect from my side. Good evening, everybody.
Cool.
Welcome to the Redefining Beauty Wednesday Conversations. My name is Kamo, Magabane, and tonight I have an amazing guest. Her name is Radebe, or Lihle, or Lee, to those that fondly know her. She is an amazing human. She's an author of a book. She's a blogger. She's got an amazing blog, and she's going to tell us more about that one. And I believe when you read about her, you'll find that the one thing that is reminiscent on her things is that she is a vessel of love and healing. She's going to tell us about what that is. And the one thing that I'm most interested in is that she's a light worker. We're going to hear about that. Good evening and thank you for joining. Let's kick this off.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, you know the standard procedure. You're a regular here. My one question: what is beauty according to Uli?
Okay. I think beauty is the light that shines through somebody when they smile. Like, you know, when someone smiles and it takes over like their whole face, their eyes just start gleaming. That's beauty to me.
Wow.
So I think everybody is at their most beautiful when they're like genuinely happy, like when they're laughing with a friend, when they're telling a story and they can't stop laughing. That for me is beauty, because nothing lights somebody up from the inside more than a smile.
Oh man, I love that. When light shines through you. Whoa, that's a beautiful one. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, let's get the people knowing about you, right? You
Okay.
are a light worker.
Yes.
Tell me what that is. What's a light worker?
Okay, so a light worker is a healer who deals with the elements of light, being astrology or astronomy. Tarot counts as light work. Crystal work counts as light work as well. Then you have root workers who deal with herbs and creating packages that remedy certain things. That's root work. I'm a light worker, so I work with the planets, the moon, crystals, astrology. That's what light work is.
Interesting. Are you trained in something like that? Are you, or do you find that it's a gift and you find information about it, or do you go to someone like a coach to get trained?
No, you find that it's a gift, but any gift needs honing. Any gift needs to be channeled correctly. You need to be taught about what your gift is. It's not enough to say that you're a gifted person. What are you
Mm-hmm.
gifted in? You could be a great dreamer. That doesn't turn you into Isangoma overnight. So you could be very, very intuitive. That doesn't make you a light worker. There are some things that you need to go through. There's things that you need to learn. You need to learn and understand crystals, and you need to experiment a bit to find what medium works best for you.
That's a very interesting space. I'm so curious about that sort of world, and it's very new to some of us. You know, we are raised in church. We are either very traditionalistic and believe in madlozi and abapanti,
Yes.
or you are on the other extreme where you believe in Christ as Savior and Lord. So that the other spaces, some of us have never dabbled in or knew about. So there's very little information about it. So tell me more about it, but do it after you sort of explained. A lot of people don't know you. I know you quite well, but there's a lot of people who are on the call that don't necessarily know who you are. So briefly, Jay, and then you can talk about the light work or the work of
Okay.
crystals. Who is Lee, and why must people know about Lee?
Lee is Lee's a writer. She's a dreamer. Um, I'm a very multifaceted person. So like this is such a
Yeah.
very hard question for me to answer because I'm very, very layered. But overall, really all I am is I'm just figuring out this life thing and I'm doing my best.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm trying to do is I don't want anybody to ever feel alone on this journey of life because we're all in this together. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always intentionally kind, and when somebody comes to me, I do my best to always receive them warmly because I may not always have all the answers, but I do want to help any way that I can. So I think I'm a kind person,
Mm-hmm.
thoughtful. Um, I think I'm a great friend. I think I'm a good person overall, but I
Mm-hmm.
am still learning, and I'm always actively trying to do better. One thing I am is I'm very committed to bettering myself.
Mm-hmm.
So at any stage in my life when I'm asked who I am, I'm always gonna say I'm working on being the best version of myself because I don't think I'm quite there yet.
Okay. I like that. So tell me more
Thank
about
you.
the light gifting. So talk me through. I am imagining that you consult with people. You speak to
Yes.
people. If I come to you, what do you do? What's a counseling session with Lee? What does that look like?
Okay, so what I offer are aura readings, which is
Okay.
I read your energy based on your current state, and if there are any chakra blockages, I can help you remedy those.
Talk to me about that. What do you do? Is it like in the Christian spaces we will say anointing, or someone will say they're feeling your aura, or your when you talk about that. What do you do? Do you hold my hand? What do you do? Do you
No,
give me something? I get haki ako sangomeng o tlantsha masapo a be le mo fatshe, a ba le go kgwetsaгаlang.
I
So
use
when
crystals with my readings. I use crystals, so that always gives me a fairly good whatever crystals that I gravitate towards. let me know what aspects of your life you need help in. For example, if I gravitate towards a rose quartz, then I know that either in your platonic or romantic relationships, something is not right.
Okay, so tell me about the three kinds of crystals. Hey, you just spoke about something that is rose. I don't know what that is.
So rose quartz crystals are used to manifest love, used to manifest healing. There are many, many more than three. I use like a variety of like 8. Then you have amethyst, which is used to manifest healing. That's when something has happened either emotionally or physically, and you need some kind of guidance in that aspect of your life.
Okay.
Then there's the black obsidian, which is used for protection. Same as the black tourmaline, which is used to deflect negative energy from you. Then you have a clear quartz, which is used to manifest clarity. And same as the moonstone. The moonstone is just to help you feel grounded. If you feel overwhelmed and you're very frazzled, you don't even know what's going on, the moonstone is usually to help you like focus on one thing. And says tune out all the outside noise, just focus.
Interesting. I'm very fascinated with that world. I saw Mula was saying, yeah, I love light workers. I'm very fascinated with that because, we are taught one way of looking at life, one way of seeing things. So it's important for us to talk to people like you who can show us a different way. I mean, we are all navigating. It's not everyone that will find answers and ways through the two things that we come to get into contact with as Batu, right? So
yes.
Your space is quite interesting. Someone is asking if you have what? I saw something that can you show them, but I don't imagine you always have them on hand to show what your the crystals.
Yeah, Asamsamo. So yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. So what you do, it's similar. It's just similar to how Naga or Esangoma would work. In terms of washawala. So it's just that you don't use masapo and all of those things. You use crystals.
Crystals, yes.
Okay. Is it as burdensome as a calling, or is it just like a vocation?
It can be, but you need to define boundaries. So what I've noticed is because of social media, many more gifted people are using their platforms to speak about their gifts, which I love, and I admire them so much for that, because we do kind of need to tear apart this thing of like, oh my god, it's so taboo and you never speak about your gift or the light work or root work that you do. But the downside of that is that I could write today where the moon is and my DMs will be filled with people saying, okay, what does it mean for me? I need to enforce the boundary of, you wouldn't go to your doctor and say, I'm hurt, deal with me now. You make an appointment. So the same way you would like my energy and my time, you make an appointment. You don't just offload your problems onto me. You have to enforce boundaries. Otherwise, you get worn out very, very quickly.
Okay, so you just spoke about the moon. Tell me something that has to be known about the moon and how it affects us before we move on to my next question.
Okay, so the moon rules water, and as humans, we are 70% water. So you need to pay attention to which phases in the moon affect you. Maybe the full moon is great for your libido, and then maybe the half moon is just terrible for you. You have a headache, you feel very unproductive. It varies from person to person. So you need to pay attention to also how your cycle is in line with the moon, your eating habits, your temper as well. You need to pay attention to that and then start living your life around that. Astrology is a guide. It's never ever like a very strict sets of instructions. It's a guide.
Okay.
So it's there for you to just know that, oh, okay, that time of the month is nearing and it's a full moon. I might be a bit more irritable. So let me just take a step back from anything that might trigger me or upset me. Let me not be in conversations that are going to inevitably set me off. It just helps you work towards being a better person for yourself first and then the people around you.
Interesting. So do you think that information about this thing, or do I always need to speak to somebody like you who's a light worker to be able to understand the workings?
No, the information is there. The information is there. But it is always helpful to have a conversation with a light worker or a root worker or just the healer in general, because the information it's very, very general.
Okay.
Like, for example, if you were to Google almond milk, the explanation is there and it's very detailed,
Yeah.
but it's not as detailed as if you were speaking to somebody who is on a diet of almond milk.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Mpo Ramalikana says, do you write horoscopes?
No,
No.
I do not.
Mule says, I want to ask if she has a spiritual gift that she chose to channel in this way. Do you?
Yes.
Okay. How did you come to know that? How did you come to figure out that you do have a spiritual gift?
Okay, so growing up, I was always more spiritual than religious. My mom was very religious, like church every Sunday, you don't miss a sermon. But I would always go for her, but it never really resonated with me. Certain things about the church upset me, certain things about like the structure and how it sits. And I always questioned the things that were being taught there.
Okay.
And my mom was like, you know what, actually, you remind me a lot of my grandmother, who was a healer. And she said,
Okay.
would it be, is something that you want to do? Would you like to consult with a healer? Because I don't have all of the answers to the questions that you're asking me. Do you want us to go find somebody to consult with? We did. And that healer then confirmed that I had a gift, but they said I was too young. I was in high school at the time. They said it hadn't fully formed yet. It was still like in the germination phase. So I had to wait it out and be patient. I started falling in love with astrology when I was around 9 or 10. I didn't know that the two were connected, though. I always thought that it was two very separate things. So
Very
about
interesting.
3-4 years ago, then did my spiritual gift start showing itself. And thankfully, I had a great support system, and my mom moved mountains to make sure that I got the guidance that I needed.
Love it. Your mom is a superhero. I know you always
Right?
speak up. Your mom is a superhero. I've heard you speak about your mom.
I love her so much.
Your
She's
mom is bad.
amazing.
Your mom is badass. Talk to
Thank
me.
you.
Talk to me about your journey to discovering that you're a writer. Is it tied to this light work that you do? Is it tied to your gift? Talk to me about that, because at some point you were not writing, and how all of a sudden you have a thriving blog, and like it's amazing. So talk to me about that.
Thank you. Okay, so I've always been a reader. Like growing up, I like my own space. So reading just came very, very naturally to me. So as anybody who is a reader, you start writing fan fiction because your favorite book didn't end the way that you wanted it to end. So you start writing fan fiction. That was in primary school. I started writing short stories in high school exclusively for my best friend. She had lost her father a year before. So just for break, something for us to do. She didn't always want to speak about what she was going through, which was fine. So I would write her like short stories. She loved them. Like she was like, when is the next one? Oh my gosh, you should really consider doing this. But I mean, you know, when you're naturally good at something, you don't really think that it's something that you need to pay attention to. So writing essays in school, I always got like the top marks for essays because my mind is always working. I'm always putting together a story. I'm always connecting puzzles. So writing just came very, very easily to me. Always been a writer. I just never wrote. I never showed anybody outside of my family and my friends my writing until last year, April.
Is that around the time when you started the blog?
Yes, I started the blog on the 19th because I was reading something that I had written to my mom. And she said, there's no way you're sitting on this like landmine of information and you're not sharing it. Like you need to put this out. And I was like, I don't know. Should I? I don't know. How would I go about it? And she said, there's no way. Like you are teaching me, your mother, something new. Other people need to see this.
That is very interesting. Again, your mother being the superhero that she is. Oh, what did you write? Talk to me about that, because it must have been very powerful. What did you write about? Because then that led to the birth of the blog, right?
It was the art of prayer, my very, very first blog post. So my mom was speaking to me about how disconnected she felt from prayer at the time, and just what she just didn't feel connected to prayer, and it was something that was very, very foreign to her, having been a religious person for almost all her life. And so I said to her, no, but prayer is not only found in the church. Like you praying, Msamako, that's prayer. You praying in your quiet time, you just taking a deep breath and going, God help me. That is a prayer, and that is sincere.
Yeah.
The sincerity of your prayer is not determined by you being in church wearing the
Yeah.
church uniform and being the loudest. So
Yeah.
I read something that I'd written in my journal, which is like word for word my very, very first blog post. Because she was like, there's no way. You can't be teaching me, your mother, something so powerful, and I'm the only person who gets to experience it. Other people need to be a part. Like, other people need to read what you've written. People need to know how you think. They need, many other people might need this. Maybe it's
Yeah.
not just me who feels disconnected. Maybe I'm not the only person who feels like very, very confused. Somebody else might need this.
I love that, and I love your mother, obviously. And I love your blog, guys.
Thank you.
Lisha's got a blog. She's gonna give us the details. I'm gonna give you the link to the blog. I love how you write. But tell me, as a writer and as a blogger, what's most important to you as a writer?
Telling the truth.
Regardless, yeah, telling your truth or what? What do you mean when you say telling the truth?
My truth and the truth. Like, I think it's very, very easy to be obsessed or consumed with trying to project a certain image. Like, always wanting, I mean, if you look at everybody's social media, we all come across as super put together. Like, oh, okay. Oh, she's a working girl. Oh, she's a student. Oh, she's got her shit together. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, things are unraveling.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important to show people both facets in moderation, of course, because nobody needs to know all your business, but it's very, very important to speak the truth.
Yeah.
Speak the truth about, like, more married women are speaking the truth, and I love that. More mothers are telling the truth, and I love that. We're not just saying, oh my God, it's so good, I'm married and I'm so happy. Oh, I'm a mother and I'm so happy. The truth is coming out. Like, listen, sometimes your kids will frustrate you. I need to hear that.
Right?
We need to know that. We need to know the truth before we think, oh, before we start envying your life, we need to know what your life is. So if we feel okay with the fact that, oh, okay, my relationship is kind of shaky right now, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Because now that we're so obsessed with perfection, the minute something is less than perfect, we leave or we give up. Right. So I think if more people started telling the truth through their art, then we'd all know that, oh, okay, it's just part of life. Like, oh, it's super normal.
Yeah, a truth teller she is. I'm gonna add that to your bio. What do you most write? What do you most write about? What inspires your blog pieces?
A lot of things. Life experience for sure.
Your own or
my life experience. I only ever write my life experience because being in my early 20s, trying to navigate the dating scene, there's so much that you come across, and there's always so much that you can learn from. So that's mostly what I write about.
Interesting. So if someone reads your blog, they'll be on a journey to knowing more and more about you and your thoughts.
Yes, my thoughts, my relationships. If anybody reads my blog, they're basically my best friend, and we have to go out for coffee because they know me.
Nice one. Okay, cool stuff. Tell me about the Umti Omkhulu. Is that your clan name? What is that? I love that. I love your symbol. I love your logo. So explain it to me. Lee's blog is called Umti Omkhulu, by the way, guys.
Yes. So it's Umti Omkhulu. And I've always felt very, very connected. I love my name. And I'm very, very proud of my name. And I'd always thought if I were to ever get a tattoo, I'd get a tattoo of a tree because of what Umti Omkhulu is. It's a big tree. So much life comes from trees. And when I was thinking about what to, because I had my WordPress account since 2017, it just had a different name. So when I had to change the name so I could write my very, very first blog post, nothing sounded or resonated with me as much as Umti Omkhulu did, because that it's what I am, and I draw so much strength from the women in my bloodline, and so much of me that is good is from the women in my family, that nothing resonated more than just my clan name.
Baby girl, you're gonna make me turn into other things. When you talk about women and you talk about bloodline and you talk about drawing strength from women, I thrive on that stuff. You know me. You know
I do.
that this is why Redefining Beauty exists.
Yes.
Right? Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. My name is Kamo Magabane, and tonight I'm sitting with Lihle, who is a blogger, a writer. She's a lover of life. She's an amazing human being, and she's wise beyond her age because she's actually still in her 20s, her early 20s. But some of the stuff she writes about is quite amazing.
Thank you.
Also, I know you've written a book. Lee has written an ebook. She
Yes.
comes up with these fantastic terms and titles. Her book is called Nuru. Guys,
Yes.
Lee, explain that one. Why did you write the book, number one? And why is it called Nuru? What's Nuru?
Nur means light in Swahili. And a friend of mine, my Kenyan friend, we were just doing, normal girl talk. And what is girl talk if we're not venting about men? So she sends me a voice note that her boyfriend had sent her at the time. And
Yeah.
he said, "You are my light." And so I was like to her, but he said it in Swahili. So I was like, girl, what does this mean? And she said, no, he basically said, I am his light. And I said, that is the most romantic thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
One, forgive him. Two, I love this word. I love it. And so she basically started calling me Nuru like it was my nickname because I was so in love with what it meant and just I'm drawn to vulnerability. So the fact that he was so vulnerable enough to say that to her, so she started calling me. So when I started thinking about what am I going to call my book, again, nothing resonated more than Nuru.
That's a beautiful name. Even before you know what it is, you're like, it just sounds
so good.
It just sounds so good, and it just feels good. But okay, moving right along. What is the book about? Why did you feel, because you already have a blog, why now then a book? What's the book about?
It's an ebook of like spoken word or poetry. So the ebook is very, very different from like the structured storytelling in my blog. The ebook is just poems I've written and somewhat forgot about, so things that I put out at the time and I felt like they didn't fit Umtiomkul, because Umtiomkul is me telling essentially stories. It's me writing long pieces. I would never go on Umtiomkul and write 3 sentences. But the 3 sentences that I had weights to them. And I was just like, I don't know what to do with all of these pieces that are scattered, and I don't know what to do with all of these ideas in my mind that when I look at them, they look unfinished, but they don't feel unfinished. And I don't know what to do with them at the time. So I had a conversation with my mentor, the amazing, gorgeous Mbali. I love her dearly. And she said, put it together in a book. And it was just at the beginning of lockdown last year. And I said, yikes, like finding a printer now. How am I going to go about it? How am I going to go find a publisher? And she said, no, we can find somebody who can turn your work into an electronic book. That way you don't have to worry about like going anywhere, leaving the house during lockdown. You can do it all from the safety of your home, and people can receive the book from the safety of their homes. And that's how Nuru came about.
Amazing. That when you talk about, I try not to talk about lockdown because we are always talking about lockdown. But look at some of the amazing things that have come out from lockdown. You wrote a whole book. So what are some of the other wonderful things that have happened through lockdown? I mean, you're a writer, you're a light worker. How did you navigate the space?
The lockdown space.
Yeah.
Lockdown really, really forced me, and I think other people, to start looking inwards.
Yeah.
Because I had to, it's easy to ignore how hurt you are when you're busy. Oh, you have to go to work. Oh, you have to go to school. You have so many things to do. But when you're alone in the house, now you're sitting and you're like, my heart really is broken. Like, this really hurts.
Right.
Yes. I had to sit with my hurt, and now it's just me and my hurt in the room. There's nothing else. There's nothing else for me to do. I'm not rushing to go anywhere. I have to confront the fact that I'm hurt, and I have to be honest about why I'm hurt, and I need to try to start working through it. Because oftentimes what we do is we just sweep our feelings under the rug. Feelings don't like that. They don't like to be pushed aside, because they'll come out. They'll come out late at night. Now it's 10 p.m. and you're in your room and you're like, no, man, this isn't it. So it forced me to look inwards, and it forced me to confront a lot of things about myself,
Mm-hmm.
which I think was very, very important. And also, this is such a cliche because we say it all the time, but it taught me that life really is short. And
Mm.
nobody would have thought that we would have been in a pandemic. Nobody.
Yeah.
And yet in those moments, now all of a sudden, having had no time to call my uncle, I called him every single day because I wanted him to know how much he meant to me and I missed him. And it also taught me that it's so easy to get comfortable with the people in your life. Like, it's so easy
Yeah.
to be like, but I know Spanny Bunny loves me. Maybe
Yeah.
they need to hear it. Maybe they need to be reminded of it. So it also taught me vulnerability because I'm not a very expressive person. But it taught me to like say to my people, I love you, I miss you, I can't wait to see you. And to those that were sick, get well soon. And to those who lost people, it taught me how to be present without ever leaving my home. It taught me how to be present for people on the other end of the phone.
Right?
Because we're just so used to, oh, my friend needs me, I'll Uber to her place. We couldn't do that. So we had to be like more consistent for the people in our lives. And it taught me so much about myself and about the people around me.
Love that. Love that. I'm curious to know. Well, I see commentary and love. Mula saying, you
Thank
such
you,
a beautiful
More.
energy. Oh, and Good Samaritan is
Thanks,
agreeing
Good
with him.
Samaritan.
Right? Kuri, wait again. As I was about to say, lockdown had some wonderful things. I mean, this very conversation that we are having, the Redefining Beauty Wednesday conversations, were birthed during lockdown because
Yes.
Lynn myself, I was wanting an outlet and I was wanting a way of reaching women because I love having conversations with women. I love hearing other people's stories, and because we couldn't meet, I couldn't do the monthly events that I had always wanted to
Yes.
do. So the next best thing was to take things online and to have these conversations. But as you were speaking, there's one thing that is coming through in your life, that you're surrounded by amazing people, amazing women. Your mom herself is amazing. You've just spoken about a mentor, and those are some of the life principles that I hold dear. You know, to surround myself with beautiful women, to surround myself with beautiful souls. And that is why the Redefining Beauty movement exists, actually, for people like you and I to find each other, and for us
Yes.
to do away with certain myths and certain negative narratives around
Yes.
us not being able to get along. But is it intentional on your side? Is it your upbringing? Or is it, what is it? What is it that makes you the way you are, and you being able to have such an amazing relationship with your mom, with your friends, and and your mentor? What is that? Do you have an explanation for that side of your life?
Yes, it's very intentional. It's very intentional. It's it's very easy to walk into a room filled with other women and be catty. That's very easy.
Right?
But to go and introduce yourself and be like, hi, how are you? And have genuine conversations, that's a bit hard because maybe you're walking in like, I don't know any of these women, they don't know me. What will they think of me? It's hard to put that aside and say, listen, I want to get to know these people on a very, very personal level.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom and her friends are scattered all around Africa. My mom has got friends in Botswana, and they don't see each other all the time, but their friendship is tight and
Solid.
strong, and they always show up for each other. And growing up and seeing that, I always said, I want the same for me. I
Mm.
want the same for me. I want to say I'm going to Cape Town and my friends is off from the airport. I want that for me.
Right?
I aspire to have those relationships because when my sister's dad passed away, all of my mom's friends showed up from every corner of the world. They showed up for her. And they made sure that in that moment, she didn't feel alone. She was surrounded by love. That's what I want now and always. And I want, when I have kids, I want for them to see that I am loved so intentionally. Like, I'm loved by people who decided to love me, and they do it deliberately and they do it consistently. And not always romantically, but more so platonically, because platonic love means a lot to me.
Talk to me about that, honey. Platonic love means more to you.
Yes.
Hit me. Go deep with that one.
Because romantic love, honestly, I'm young. So romantic love is still gonna come and go. Like, I'm gonna meet somebody tomorrow and feel like he's the love of my life. We might break up 6 months later, then I meet another one. I'm young. So I can't put romantic relationships up on some kind of pedestal. So right now, it's I need my friends. And
Hey
so
now.
I need to pour my energy into my friendships. When I go out with my friends. I need to make sure that everybody sitting who has a seat at the table is happy and they're comfortable and that we're on good terms. So I am I think at my most communicative in my friendships because those relationships mean a lot to me. That's I think
Lihle.
that's
Yes,
my
man.
first experience of a love outside of my family, of course. My first experience of a love that was genuinely pure was through my
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah. I get that. I understand that. It's something that is at the core of who I am and at the core of this movement. Guys, Limameti Lee Khatebene. This is why she is a Redefining Beauty ambassador. That is why she lives and breathes. It's her. It's in her because you know what I mean. I love people like you. It's amazing. Loving intentionally and loving consistently and showing people what these things, man. It's very, like you were saying, it's very easy to be catty. It takes much more from you to be loving, to love your
Yes.
friends. I mean, I myself, I've got friends that span over, oh my gosh, the longest friendship I have is what, probably 26 years.
Yes.
I've got friends that I've known for quite a while, and then I'm very intentional. And just like you, I've seen my aunts. I've seen the friendships that my aunts have had. I mean, my aunt has had friends for over 43 years, and I looked at that, and then I thought to myself, me, I want this life. I want this life of queendom. I want this
Yep.
life of matriarchs that are strong, that
Yes.
speak on me, that fight for each other. Even Likohesu, the matriarchs are the ones that are at the forefront. My uncles don't take the front seat. It's my aunts that fight the wars and even
Yep.
fight on behalf of my uncles. I
Yes.
grew up around that, and that's why I want that. Kumnandi apha sana kumnandi. I'm enjoying myself too much. Lee, okay, next question before we deviate too much. You proudly say that you're a vessel of love and healing. What does that mean?
The vessel of love and healing actually isn't me. Kulu became that for me because it was the space that I could go to when I wasn't in the mood to vent to my friends. Because oftentimes you vent to your friends like, oh my gosh, it sucks, I'm so unlucky in love. And they're there to reassure you, which is great, but that's not always what you require. And so a lot of my work in my blog is very, very like vulnerable, no shields. I'm writing as I feel it. Umtiomkulu became that for me because it turned into a space where I could get something out of me that was weighing me down, and it was safe there. Like it was safe. I got it out of me and it's safe. It's in a space where it is being seen and appreciated and in some cases applauded and never ever taken for granted. So Umtiomkulu became that for me. I never ever thought that Umtiomkulu would become that for other people. I treated that blog as if it was my journal because my very, very first piece came from my journal. So I treated it as though it was my journal. And the fact that other people were reading it and then resonating with the work and then messaging me and being like, oh my God, I feel the same way. And my ex did the same thing to me. And I was like, oh my, also there's more of us. Okay, great. Okay, great.
But now you're talking about it being a safe space. How it's in the public. People are getting to know how you feel, and are you not afraid of that, or people knowing where does that come from? Most people never expose their true feelings, their true thoughts, and here you are writing blogs and saying that's a safe space.
Because what's the worst that can happen? Yeah, I wrote about my heartbreak. Now what? Like, what's the worst that can happen? It's not in me. It's not weighing me down anymore. It's not keeping me up at night anymore. It's out there. And somebody who's heartbroken about somebody's going to read it and find it and feel seen and appreciated. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah. If somebody wants to be catty, like, oh, yeah, your relationships always end. Cool. That's true.
And?
That's not a lie.
And?
Yeah, that's true. I feel like anything that I put out on my platform can never ever be used to hurt me. I've lived it. And when I write it, I relive it.
Talk to me about that. Yeah?
It's out of me. It's not weighing me down anymore. So even if the person that I wrote the pieces about were to come back, it's like, no, everything that I wanted to say to you, I have already said. It may not have been to you, but it's not weighing me down anymore. So I'm ultimately in a better space. As long as I express what I'm feeling and I do it as authentically as possible, I've done my part.
Ooh, yeah. Authenticity. You know that word, Ginger. If
Yeah.
anything, that's the word that I love more than everything. And that is
I
why
know.
I have these conversations, because they're authentic. Good evening, everybody. Those who are late, who I see you, you're gonna have to go rewatch this from the beginning. Lee is out here sending positive vibes, sending energy that is amazing. I'm
Always.
feeling it. The people that are on this call are feeling it. I'm just a happy human being tonight. Well, tonight we talking about Lee, who's a blogger, and how she writes not only to heal herself but to heal other people. I love people that are good with words. I love people that write, because I've always found that words are healing, and words can carry you. You know,
Yes.
you can go back, you can read it, park it, go back to it, and it'll hit you differently. The more, if I always go back to your blog and go read some of my favorite ones, and have,
Thank
and
you.
I always get different messages from it. So that's why I love people that write. So everybody, please get yourself acquainted with her. I will send out the link, or you can even follow Lee. The blog is called Umti Omkulu. If you go on Google and say Umti Omkulu, you will be able to
It'll
find
pop
it.
up.
And I believe it's in your bio as well.
Yes, it is. Link is in my bio.
Let me look. We literally have 4 minutes before we wrap up this call. I could talk to you all day, because you have a lot of thoughts. You have a lot of things
Thank
to
you for
give out.
having me, Kamo.
Before I ask my last question, I want to hear more about your mommy. What in your young age have you learned from mama? What makes her? Your mom is rare. Let me just start with that.
Thank you.
I've heard you talk
I
about her
won't hear the end
often.
of it, but I'll tell her.
Yeah, but what makes her different, and that we could learn from through you, and you telling us, and that we can implement in our own lives?
So my mom is a single mom, and she she always made it known that she chose herself.
Mm.
And so she'd be asked, like, you broke up with Sepiso's father, you broke up with Lihle's father. And she said, I chose myself. In both relationships, I chose me. And she always taught us to do the same. And she always said, even if you were to get married and you feel like a week into the marriage is not working out, I will fetch you. Because if I left when I was not happy, I don't expect you to stay because of what other people are going to say. And
Mm.
she got a lot of flack. Like, she got a lot of, oh my gosh, here she goes
Of
again.
course.
And she was just like, I don't care what you say. I'm happy. So you guys can talk till you're blue in the face. I'm in just a better space. And my mom, she struggled after she broke up with my father. Like, for a year or two, she wasn't fully okay. And she owns that. And so she always says, even though I struggle with vulnerability, she always asks me why, because she's like, I was never afraid to
Be
just say,
vulnerable.
guys, I'm not okay, so please don't play around my room today. Play that side, guys, I'm not in the mood today. I'm like, if you guys want to go out, that's fine. I'm not gonna be a part of that. Always very communicative about her feelings. And she always says, she always says this. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to be angry and suffer alone. No, if I'm angry, I'm going to say I'm angry and I'm angry about this, and here's how it can be fixed. So very, very big on communication. And I think that's why we have such a great relationship. I can sit with my mom and talk about any and everything under the sun.
I know, Indab. I've listened to you talk about your mom. Your mom, like, you see the comments are coming through. Your mom is a G. I love your mom. Mule is saying her mom is me. I am her mom. I mean, as a single mom who's not bitter, who knows how to choose herself. Hey, Bona, Mama Tante Atla Itoba Redefining Beauty Ambassador herself.
I'll tell
Because,
her.
I mean, really. I mean,
No, I'll tell her.
your,
She really is
your,
amazing.
your mom lives the ethos. I mean, we are all about self-love. We are
Yes.
all about choosing ourselves. Redefining beauty is about teaching women to prioritize themselves, to go inward, to connect to herself. And your mother has been doing this in an age where women are taught to begezela. I mean, see where Peaches, I think it's at Cebu, saying you and your mom have that in common. She's always choosing. Huh?
Yes.
So she's always about choosing herself. Always, what a G. I love your
Yes.
mom. Kuzi saying, can we have Mama on the platform? I think so too. I think it would be lovely to listen to Mama tell her side or her view. I mean, for
No,
now,
definitely that could be arranged. For
Ne,
sure.
please. Halam ne.
sure.
Re tlo bua ne. Ke a mo batla
Yeah.
Mama. I really want Mama. Even over and above this Wednesday conversation, I would love to have her in person. And to everyone that's on the call, next week, Sunday, no, this coming Sunday, the 18th of April, we are officially launching the Redefining Beauty, the movement now. And we're going to be I'm going to be launching what I call self-love Sundays. And these are going to be happening every month on the very first Sunday of every month. So I want Mama to be part of those in person, physically, so that we can feel her energy and touch her. And
No,
'cause these are
definitely. If the doctor gives her like the thumbs up, for sure.
okay, but the live session, I really want that to happen. I'm not seeing any comments, any more questions, so we're gonna wrap this up because we are out of time. I've got my time is over. I usually try to keep these at 45 minutes, but when I have a lovely guest like Lihle, hey, we're having fun up in here. Okay, I'll read this last comment before I ask you the question. Mule is saying, this for me is a great example of the results of someone who is mothered by someone who is in love with herself. Yes, yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes. This is why you are who you are. This is why you are so amazing.
Thank you.
So, okay, let's wrap this up. My
Okay.
last question, and maybe it'll be unfair because now but you're a writer, so you know about summarizing things. What is your one message? What's your one message? What's the one thing that you want to teach women? If you were given the opportunity to speak to every woman, what's your one message, or what's the one thing you want to teach?
Be kind. Be kind. Just be kind. Be kind. Be kind to the young intern who's starting and is on the wrong floor and who printed your documents wrong. Be kind. You don't always have to be like stern, and I think it's very, very difficult for women, especially as women of color or Black women, because we have to work 3 times as hard, right?
Yeah.
And so we often think that when the next young Black woman comes in, we need to teach her like tough love. No. I think as women, can we just be the one community where we are always met with softness? There's enough hardness in the world.
Oh.
No one else is looking out for us. So can we just look out for each other? Like, if she falls and spills her drink on you, trust me, she didn't do it on purpose. You don't have to start a fight. It's cool. You can always buy another dress. She can always buy another drink. It doesn't have to turn into something combative and ugly. Can we just like learn to be kind and actively try to be kind to ourselves first and then to others?
Love that. Bona ngaivala lapho inkonzo, kindness mfethu. I'm not going to ask any more questions. Let's be kind. Normalize being kind, especially to other women. Especially to other women. I love that. I love you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Dumi, my cousin, says, you just spoke to my soul. Kindness always. Let's be kind, guys. Join the movement. This is Redefining Beauty. My name is Kamo Magabane. I am here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. talking to amazing women. Tune in, guys. Tune in. Plug in. Come to the event. Everyone that hasn't received the invitation for Sunday the 18th, come through. We'll be in Kibla Park. It's the launch. That's the space I'm creating to tell more people about the movement, to talk about some of the things that we do, the pamper boxes, the t-shirts, the love, the guests, all the other things, just in creating a space and a platform for women to get along, for women to love themselves, for women to be... That's all it is. We are not even complicating this thing, right? That's all it is, honey.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in. Good night and God bless you.